I love Disney World, I really do, but in a time where the cost of pretty much everything is rising, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to visit a park which is increasingly wanting more money off their guests. If you're a fan of Disney and have been watching their films and TV shows for as long as you can remember, like myself, then you've probably dreamt about visiting the most magical place on earth, Disney World. So you go online to book your tickets, you work out all the additional costs, only to realise that it's probably best that you just stay at home and watch the films. Disney is expensive, and it's becoming more expensive as time goes on. Now I'm making this video today because just a few days ago, Disney announced that they're going to be introducing a $5,000 cocktail to their brand new cruise ship, the Disney Wish. This obviously isn't just any cocktail, this is the Kyber crystal drink, also known as the most expensive drink in the galaxy. Now I get what Disney are trying to do here, and it does look pretty cool, but $5,000 for a drink is pretty insane. You'll be relieved to know that if you did want to purchase this cocktail, you'll get a few extras too. It includes a trip for one person to Skywalker Vineyards, which is not open to the public. And not only that, but you also get a bottle of Skywalker Vineyards wine delivered to your room. If you didn't already know, Skywalker Vineyard is located within George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch property in California. So you are getting more for your money than just the cocktail, but even with an exclusive visit to Skywalker Ranch, this is still pretty overpriced in my opinion. I'll also add that you obviously don't need to buy this drink if you're boarding the Disney Wish, but if you do have $5,000 spare in your wallet, then maybe consider it. But this video is about Disney in general, specifically Walt Disney World, and how just visiting Walt Disney World and doing the regular activities is becoming more expensive. So, why is Disney World so expensive? Well, first of all, Disney World isn't just a regular theme park resort. It's the biggest and most visited in the entire world. Therefore, it requires a high amount of maintenance, which of course won't be cheap. And being the most visited park in the world, they have to limit the park capacity so it's not extremely busy and crowded all the time, which is why they raise the ticket prices regularly. Imagine if the tickets were say $30. Even more guests would flood in and the park would continuously sell out every day. So this is why it makes sense that they raise those ticket prices. The base ticket price for Disney World is between $109 to $159 a day. This is of course very expensive, especially if you have a whole family visiting the parks. But it can be justified by just how much you're getting from your visit, especially with the additions in recent years such as Galaxy's Edge and Pandora. So entry into the parks isn't cheap, but it's the additional things you have to pay for which really start making it difficult to visit. Parking is expensive. Even if you're staying on property, you have to pay $25 per day. If you're staying for 14 nights, then this will be an additional $350. The reason the parking is this price is because when you arrive at Disney World, there's various different modes of transport which take you to each of the parks. The price you pay for parking covers the expenses of this transport. Next, let's talk about the rides. Now, Disney World have 100 plus attractions across all 4 theme parks, and all these rides require a high amount of maintenance, as they are open all year round. Along with that, there's all the hotels, restaurants and other facilities which also need to be kept well maintained. Let's not forget too that some of the classic rides have been open since the park opened 50 years ago. With millions and millions of guests riding them, the rides will of course become worn over time, in many different ways. So the ride engineers will need to keep on top of them all. Therefore, this is just another reason why your admission and parking prices are so high. Disney World has around 77,000 members of staff, also known as cast members, all of which keep the magic flowing each and every day throughout the resort. And to hire that many cast members, a lot of money will go towards training, their pay and other benefits too. If you don't already know, Disney cast members go through extensive training as their customer service has to be at their highest level all day every day. Therefore, their benefits are far better than you would find at any other theme park. So even though it costs a lot of money to visit Disney World, the money you're paying goes towards the cast members' salaries, who ultimately make your trip magical. Earlier on I spoke about that $5,000 drink, which, let's face it, the majority of us won't be able to afford and won't be buying. But something that can't be avoided on your trip to Disney World is food. I mean, you could avoid eating, but I really wouldn't recommend it. Food prices at Disney World are very high. There's so many food options at Disney World, I can't give exact amounts for everything, but let's just say it's around $10 to $12 for a burger or another quick service meal, and sweet treats cost around $6 plus. Sit-down meals are, as you can imagine, considerably more. So why is the food so expensive? Well, the food you get at Disney World can't be found anywhere else. They don't have your regular restaurants inside the parks, they're all restaurants that belong to Disney, which means the food is themed to the park and the area that you're in, and along with that, it's all freshly made. But the main reason the food is so expensive is because once you're inside the park, you can't re-enter. So if you're hungry, you have no option other than to buy food inside the park. Finally, another extra which will add to the cost of your Disney World visit is the cost of the on-site hotels. Don't get me wrong, these hotels are incredible and I would highly recommend staying on property, not only due to the hotels being very well themed and clean, but also because they're convenient when visiting the parks. Especially with transport like the monorail and Skyliner, it's easy to travel around the resort. But along with that comes a very high cost. Depending on the hotel you stay in, you can end up spending hundreds of dollars per night, which means if you're there for a week or two, then it can really add up. So if you're thinking of visiting Disney World, be sure to check out the different options and different hotels either on property or in the Orlando area. So these are some of the reasons why Disney World is so expensive. There are of course plenty of tips out there on how to save money at Disney World, but no matter what, if you are visiting for more than a few days, you're going to be spending thousands of dollars. When Disneyland opened in 1955, it was only $1 for admission into the park, so it's crazy to think that all these years later, Disney are charging $5,000 for one single drink, hundreds of dollars to stay at the resort hotels, and hundreds of dollars just for admission into the parks. But having said that, Disneyland and Disney World have come a long way since 1955 and 1971. There's plenty more areas, more hotels, and even more parks too, so you are getting a lot more for your money. So even though a trip to Walt Disney World is bound to empty your wallet, the money that you spend and all the money that other guests spend go towards making sure that you have the most magical experience possible. What do you think about the rising costs of visiting Walt Disney World? Would you buy the $5,000 drink? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is it for this video. If you did enjoy watching, then please hit that like button to let me know. And if you are new around here and you're feeling extra cheeky, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing, because we make plenty of theme park and adventure videos here at Acadie Adventures, which you don't want to miss. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.